watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
Welcome back to Capitol View. Joining me to continue the discussion on the 2016 race, two friends of the show, Skip Rutherford and Rex Nelson. Welcome to you guys both. So the big political story this past week, Donald Trump making a stop in Little Rock, and he wasted no time taking a shot at one of the most famous Arkansas political families. Let's take a listen.
I have such respect for Arkansas. And by the way, I have to tell you this. Hillary and Bill left Arkansas. They left you, folks. They left you. Whether you like it or not, they left you.
So Donald Trump never one to hold back. Rex, I want to ask you, what did you make of his appearance here and his speech, and also why is Donald Trump making a stop in Arkansas in between the Iowa caucuses and New Hampshire primary?
Who really knows why Donald Trump does anything? I'll put it this way. I thought Barton Coliseum was the perfect place to have this event, because when I grew up in Arkansas, that's where we always went to go to the circus. And that's where Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey would come, Skip, and the Trump campaign is a circus, and that was kind of a circus-like atmosphere out there, if you know. But, it's a traveling circus, so I thought it was wonderful it was at Barton. Same place that we had the state fair, all the sideshows, and perfect location.
Right. Skip, what did, there was a lot of talk that this set the record for attendance at Barton, and obviously he has a draw here in Arkansas as he does across the country. What do you make of the Donald Trump phenomenon and him coming here to Arkansas?
Well, it is a phenomenon, and we probably haven't seen anything like it in Arkansas since Tommy Robinson emerged on the scene. But I would say that Donald Trump's strength is drawing large crowds. There's a certain following, a very not necessarily angry, but activist electorate that looking at an outsider candidate. So you get into a large auditorium like Barton Coliseum, and there are people that really want to see him. Yeah, one of our largest crowds at the Clinton School was when we had Dr. Phil. People like personalities, and Trump, whether you agree with him or not, is a personality. So I wasn't surprised about the large crowds. He's been drawing those all over the country. I think the real issue, as we saw in Iowa, is does he have the organizational structure to make it to the finish line?
Yeah, I think you have to be careful with those crowd estimates, because I think you hit on something, Skip. A lot of those people were there to see the big show again, and that doesn't necessarily mean they're Trump voters. In fact, a lot of them would have told you, and probably did tell you, they have no intention of voting for Donald Trump. They wanted to be there just to say they were there and to see a show.
Or don't know who, some of them even said they don't know who they plan to vote for, but wanted to take in what he had to say. Arkansas moved up its primary, going to be participating in what's traditionally been known as Super Tuesday, or the SEC primary now. Is this a precursor of what's to come with more candidates visiting the state, Rex?
I think so. I mean, with Governor Huckabee out now, no favorite son candidate, Arkansas is very much in play. I think Trump will get a sizable number of votes here, but I think Cruz will get a sizable number, and I think Rubio will get a sizable number. Yes, we're in play now. We matter again.
Yeah. How do you see that playing out for the state, and will the Democratic candidates come campaign here as well?
Sure, because you've got, there's two elections you have to remember. The first election is about delegates, and the second election is about electoral votes. And in states that are traditionally red states, there are still Democratic delegates, so every state is competitive. And in states that are traditionally blue states, there are red delegates. So this is a 50-state plus D.C. plus primary. So every state matters. So yeah, these are very, very competitive. This is election one. Arkansas, which likely will go R in November. Certainly, it's very competitive for D in now and in these primaries. And you're going to see, I think you're going to see a lot of candidates coming through here en route to Alabama and Georgia and Texas and everything, because every state now within your own party is competitive.
And we are in a year, I don't think it'll happen, but we're in a year where there is a chance that you could see a Republican convention go multiple ballots. And if that happens and you get into the so-called brokered convention, then indeed every electoral vote does matter. So yeah, Arkansas, very important state at this point.
You talked about former Governor Mike Huckabee being out. Now some of the elected officials from the state in play as far as endorsements. I know there was a couple this past week, a couple of congressmen endorsing Marco Rubio. How do you see that playing out here in the state?
I don't think endorsements carry much weight in Arkansas. I traditionally have seen strong governors endorse people that didn't do well, and that's on both the Democratic side and the Republican side. We've never been one to follow endorsements. They'll make them, but I don't see it making that big a difference in the race.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with Rex completely on that one.
One of the people that I haven't seen make an endorsement yet, though, Tom Cotton, and there's been some talk again this week about whether he's angling for a VP selection. Skip, where are you at on that? I mean, do you think that he would make a strong VP choice? Does he help anyone's ticket?
Sure. I mean, I think, look, Tom Cotton has emerged as a strong player on the national scene at a very early in his career. It's going to be a balance issue. It depends on who the nominee is. I mean, you know, and I think, depending on who that nominee is, I certainly think Cotton will be considered. But Drew, I would say this: that most people, when you look at vice presidents, my guess is it will come from the Republican field. You know, my sense is it will be one of the runners-up that will be on the ticket. For example, let's just say that Donald Trump is the nominee. And then I think you look at a Rubio or a Kasich or somebody like that on the ticket. That's my guess. That'd be my guess.
Let me throw out there, I think Tom Cotton is on the list, but I also think the aforementioned Mike Huckabee is on the list. One thing, if you go back to Monday night in Iowa, that Rubio and Trump had in common, and that is they both praised Mike Huckabee from the podium. Only thing that they did in common was they both praised Mike Huckabee.
All right, we'll keep watching. Rex Nelson and Skip Rutherford, thank you guys so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
We're back to wrap it up after this. You're watching Capitol View on Sunday morning.